Now that was a team win. No doubt about it. Welcome, LAFC Plus, episode 64 here in the middle of July. He is Mario Rees. I'm Dave Denho. Mario, nice to see you again, buddy. Good to talk to you.
Man, that felt good, right, Dave? 9 points in 3 games, just like that. That's a quick way to start climbing up the Western Conference table. Massive road win and another clean sheet for Hugo Lloris and that back line. Defensively, solid the past 3 games. It's been amazing to see LAFC on this run. And here's how it sounded here, the final call on ESPN LA.
Russell will try it again, launches it in. Knocked down, top of the area. Who's going to get there first? Pereira chipping it in the backside. Boxall gets a head on it. Cleared by LAFC, and Yeboah gets a foot through it. It's over. The whistle goes, and LAFC have won 1-0 at Allianz Field. What a game for the black and gold. It's over. They have shut out Minnesota United.
Huge win on the road, Davey.
Yeah, it was. If you're watching this on YouTube, let's say, if you're watching this, which you can get all these podcasts on LAFC Plus, you can get them on the LAFC YouTube page, you would see me wince there during that because it's so tense. Even now, I know we won, game's over.
Yeah.
But I still remember like so many free kicks, Mario, so many corner kicks, double-digit corner kicks from Minnesota, those long throws from Michael Boxall. That's how they want to beat you. And yet LAFC stood resolute defensively every time. And, really, I mean, Hugo Lloris had a couple of nice saves, nothing too crazy. You would expect Lloris to make those kind of saves. He's that good. But it was really, it epitomizes what we talk about with depth in sports, not just in soccer. Because you can say, we're deep, or you still have to have the guys come off the bench, or maybe they start a game where they haven't been starting. They come in for an injured player, as we'll talk about here, and they just perform like nothing has happened, or they haven't missed a beat, like they've been playing every week, 90 minutes. They just look great. And that's the big kudos to depth. But it's also, no disrespect. Obviously, the players have to go do it. Steve Cherundolo and his staff have to put out the game plan. But John Thorrington and his staff, too, like this is why you want this depth. And I want to just highlight Kosei Tafari. Everybody deserves praise for this victory, Mario. But, the terrible news of Aaron Long being out for the year with the surgery. And then Tafari just steps in. Now, we know he's a great player, but wow. I mean, you don't expect them quite to hit the ground running like that against a team like Minnesota with what they want to do and pound you with those corners and crosses. And Tafari's head was in the shot as I watched the game, or if you're watching it on TV, he's there every time. He is in the way of every shot, every cross. Like, unbelievable performance by that guy.
Yeah, what a gamer Kosi is, right? He's been such a professional ever since, he got here. He said he wanted to make an impact on this game. He's ready to perform, and you could tell he has that intensity to him. But really, he's just been, behind that back line that's been so stacked, right? So he hasn't been able to get those minutes that he would like. But he's always been ready, right? And he knew that when his number gets called, he's going to go out there and have to perform. And right now is that time. And you can just see what type of gamer he is. And to go out there and put that performance in, just like he did last night, a clean sheet for the back line, for that defense. I'm sure he's really, really proud of that. He's pumped coming out of that one, and he's pumped for the next game too. So I can't wait to see what he does in the next game. And Kosi, he was actually interviewed after the game for post-game comments after the game about the upcoming game, which is the derby match, and you can just see the intensity on his face. He's the type of player that likes the big games, likes to be in those big moments. Here's what he had to say about that.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's a derby. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts. It's a derby, and that we know what that means. It's a derby.
And the way he just looks straight into the camera, he's just like, yeah, you'll see what's up. I love that.
Yeah, he's not a guy who's going to get rattled by anything, of course. He's been around the league for a long time, triple-digit appearances in MLS. He spent a lot of years with FC Dallas before coming over here in a trade with FC Dallas for LAFC in the offseason. So he's ready to go and just looked tremendous. Stepped right in, didn't miss a step, And actually, I'm a little upset because Max Bredos beat me to it earlier after the match, but earlier than I wanted to on social media by praising Eddie Segura too and shouting him out specifically. Max, voice of LAFC as well, been around the club since day one as well. And to praise Eddie, and I wanted to do it too because all he's been through with the AC, the injuries, the knee injuries, coming back like Eddie has, and just stepping in. And I know we've talked about it a little bit, but again, just that guy has been so good. And again, some of it's, look, you're partnered with Aaron Long too. That helps. Obviously, it's who you play alongside as well. But Eddie didn't miss a beat either without Aaron Long in there. And of course, he and Kosi just step right in. And I think Steve got the formation absolutely spot on. Great job by the coaching staff to get the team ready to play Minnesota United. Minnesota United likes counterattacks. They barely had any thought of that last night. In terms of, as we do this, the Wednesday night game, they barely had any real dangerous opportunities, realistically. Frankly, the opportunities I remember that were the most dangerous to me were Carlos Harvey, the right center back from about 28 yards, right? Like those were the real clear-cut chances, and he had a couple of them that Hugo Lloris made quick work of. But, yeah, that's a comprehensive victory, Mario. And, yeah, it's 1-0. I get it. Game hung on the balance, we'd be talking a different thing, game all the way around if they'd have scored late or something. But that's what these games are. They're fine lines, they're inches, and you get the win, you get the huge 3 points against a very good Minnesota United team. This is one of the...
That was a very comfortable 1-0 win, I think, Dave. Even though, it was just 1-0, it was a dominant performance in that first half. And then in the second half, you knew that they were going to come out to grind out this win, right? They're going to protect that 1-0 lead, and that's exactly what they did. How many real good chances did Minnesota have? Not very many. So LAFC was giving them possession, not much danger going on for Minnesota, not much shots on goal. The ones that had shots on goal, the dangerous chances in that second half were for LAFC. You see, Ordaz had a shot. Ordaz had a shot. Bawanga had 2 chances that I bet you he'll put those in the back of the next time he does that. But St. Clair, he did his thing. St. Clair had to earn his money in that match, and he did against Bawanga a couple of times, but he's never going to deny Bawanga on that PK because Bawanga just buried that to the top right bins or to the top left bins. Amazing there. But yeah, it was just one of those performances where you just say, man, what a dominant performance, even though it was only 1-0. And one of the things I like about wins here for LAFC is they have this photo that they put up after every single win from the locker room. And this one right here is extra special for me because you look at the jersey that they're holding up there right in the middle of the pic, right? That's the jersey of Captain Aaron Long, who unfortunately, like you said, he's out for the season after the surgery on the Achilles there. But, we want to send our support and our prayers out to Aaron and, as he works to get back, hopefully stronger, better than ever. But this shows that type of, that chemistry and that bond that these guys have. And there's situations like these in a season that can motivate and inspire a group. If they kind of keep this kind of do it for ALO type of, I don't know if it's a hashtag or a movement or something just to do it for ALO. I think that can really inspire the group and to always have them close to the mind, close to the heart and do it for ALO. That would be huge, I think, for the black and gold this season.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I think you're 100% correct there. And look, the bottom line is wins and losses, right? And injuries will come. You have to battle through the tough schedule. We know we talk about these things, but they're not excuses. And you have to keep playing the games that are on your schedule. And this one could have gone a whole different direction with the Aaron Long injury, of course, and what you're facing with the schedule being congested. And there were a little bit of rotation brought in by Steve Cherundolo. That's natural with this kind of, again, schedule congestion. But they don't make excuses. They just went out and had, again, one of my favorite performances of the year. It wasn't some 5-0 thrashing or anything like that, but it really was. It's just, and LAFC do this. Right? Mm-hmm. Every good team does it, but some days you're going to have a horrible game, right? And every great team has this. There's going to be a game on the schedule where it doesn't matter what you try, it's not going to work. But there's other games where you're like, this could be really tough. The situation where it falls in the schedule, the injuries you might have, a suspension, whatever it is. And you're thinking, oh boy, this might be, I thought it was going to be a tough matchup last night. No doubt. And it was. Yeah. It was. and Minnesota United is a great team, but that's what makes it even sweeter in a way. You know, like, yeah, they only have one loss
A lot of the guys were
since
saying
April.
that this was going to be the real test. A lot of the guys were saying, we took care of business at home, but the matchup in Minnesota was going to be the real test to see if the guys were really in that rhythm. And look what they did. It's a spectacular performance from the guys, knowing that their depth was going to get tested. It did, and they showed up and they showed out, and they scored first, which is huge. It's huge for LAFC when they score first. We see it in, the numbers, because LAFC is now 56-3-5 when scoring first in the regular season since the start of 2022. That's a very, very telling stat, how crucial it is for LAFC to get out on the front foot and score first.
That seems like a fake stat, though. It really does. It's just too good. Yeah, it's just so good. Speaking of so good, I said LAFC have only had one loss since early April in MLS play. 7 wins, 1 loss, 5 draws since then. 13 games, you got 1 loss. And again, it was that coming off the Club World Cup. Honestly, they sleptwalked through that game against Vancouver. It wasn't a good performance. We talk about a great performance against Minnesota. That one was not good, frankly, and they know it. And they've adjusted and addressed that certainly going forward. Now 3 straight wins, 3 straight shutout wins. The shutout streak's at 340 minutes. Hugo Lloris continues to prove to me, and it should be proving to everybody else, that you might like another goalkeeper better in MLS. You might prefer your goalkeeper. I know that we have a lot of listeners who aren't LAFC fans. That's the plus in LAFC plus. You might be coming in here as a Minnesota United fan. You're going to say Dane St. Clair all day, every day. Fine, right? There's guys who are playing great. Brad Stuver, who we'll be seeing soon with Austin. Yep. You can't play goalkeeper. You can't play the position better than Hugo Lloris is. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, he's just that good. He's got that much experience. He helps the back line. We're talking about everything, not just shot stopping, not just what shows up in the stats, which he is doing great at, no question. And remember, LAFC, 10 wins, 5 losses, 5 draws. Lloris missed 2 of the losses. Hugo Lloris is 10 wins, 3 losses, and 5 draws. So in 18 games, LAFC have only lost 3 when he starts. And that's pretty darn good. And his goals against average is down to 1. Again, takes a village, right? You got to have all of your defenders playing well. You got to have the midfield playing. He knows that better than anybody. But I do want to shout him out again, because he's just playing some tremendous football. And I think LAFC are rounding
that he does. He does so many things, like you're saying. He almost had an assist in last night's match in Minnesota as well. He had a great outlet pass, like a long ball to Denis, which almost resulted into a goal, which is just one of the many things that he's been doing, ever since he's been here at LAFC, is those long exit kind of like outlet passes, that lead right into the attack, which has been great.
LAFC rounding in offensive form too. That was one of the notes I wanted to write down, because they're using their possession more effectively, I think. Sometimes it's a slow build up. They're feeling out the defense early, especially in matches where some fans might be like, oh, let's go, get on, press the accelerator or whatever, but they're not going to do that necessarily. You want to break down teams. But I do think they are handling their possession better. They're getting more of it of late. They're not ceding the ball as much, realistically. And I genuinely think that helps the defense. It helps your offense. Still, right? We know that Denis Bouanga is going to be the centerpiece. And we know, as Mario pointed out, this could have been 2-0, 3-0 if it wasn't for Dane St. Clair. So Denis was red hot, and, he gets the penalty goal. But he set up the penalty shout. Now, kudos to Jeremy Obobasi for making a great, hard run towards that ball that Denis crossed in, and he draws the foul. So Obobasi's responsible for that goal too. No doubt about it. But Denis, he crosses people up by going to the end line sometimes, Mark, because they always think he's going to put it on the right foot and shoot, right? Because that's basically what he always does, seemingly.
He was all over the place. He could not be stopped. Harvey had no chance of stopping him. Boxhall tried to come in for the double team. No chance there, He gets his 3rd goal in just 3 games. So Bouanga's doing his thing. That's what you want right before the Derby match. And Bouanga now has 85 goals in all competitions for LAFC, just 9 shy of tying Carlos Vela for the most in club history. So if he ties Carlos Vela, club legend, there you go. Another club legend right there with Denis Bouanga. So yeah, if it wasn't for St. Clair, though, St. Clair had a lot of work to do, and he stopped Denis twice, or else Denis would have had a hat trick in that game.
Yeah, no doubt. So Dane St. Clair was, he is. And he's the reason, I'll be honest with you, LAFC won both matches against Minnesota now. We swept the season series, a couple of 1-0 victories, right? First game of the season, that one's, barely remembered, like that's so long ago. But then this one, great performance on the road. I would rather not see Minnesota United in the playoffs in a one game kind of, there's other teams in the West and, there would just be far easier in a one game play because Minnesota doesn't care to go on the road either if they have to. They can perform on the road better than a lot of these teams too. There's plenty of other teams in the West who I will disrespect in this sense. Minnesota are better than them in a playoff one game play, especially not that 2 game
and a good
thing.
Keeper will keep you in the game too,
thing.
especially in the playoffs.
Exactly. You don't want to play a Dane St. Clair in the playoffs, just like you don't want to face Hugo Lloris because they can stand on their head and all of a sudden, you might have a decent game offensively and lose 1-0, depending on how the keeper, So they're a team that they are going to be good the whole way. They got a lot of weapons and they got a good defense, and St. Clair is really rock solid in the back. So Mario mentioned
who else
it though.
Played really well though, Dave. Hold on, one more shout out in that game
before we move on.
Smolyakov stepped in and it was smooth as can be. That was a very, close to perfect performance from him. Another huge part of that dominant defense against Minnesota. And then he also can hit from distance, I've noticed, right? And he put one on frame that St. Clair had to come up with a full stretch save. But Smolikov's another guy that stepped up big time in that win last night.
Yeah, I agree. And who knows? Maybe we'll see more of it with that 5-man back line because of Aaron being out. Palencia certainly can handle being one of the center backs. He's done that very well. Despite the fact he's played most of his time at right back for LAFC, he does slide into that right center back spot. You have Kosi in the middle, then Eddie Seguro, of course, who's very comfortable on the left side of the central defense. So you can have Hollingshead certainly playing on the right, going that wing back up and down the pitch. Smolikov, very comfortable getting the attack. You're right. He looked very good. And I love when he takes the inside track kind of, he doesn't stay out wide even attacking because he wants to give Denis that space, of course. So he kind of comes inside, but it's very dangerous because he can handle the ball in there. He's not just your like a defender only who can't, and in the modern game, they got to be able to handle the ball, no doubt. And he does.
Yeah.
But I love the way he tucks it inside to keep Denis having as much space out there to kind of get the 1v1s going. Yeah, he's great.
And one thing I loved about Minnesota was this right here. Let me show you. See those kits right there? I know you and I both noticed them right away. As soon as we seen those kits, we're like, whoa, those are clean. So I want to do a quick, little quick edition of Football Fit Check because I was just really impressed. It really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to see these kits. It's the 2025 Heritage Kit. And it's really sharp, and it pays homage to some of the prior teams there in Minnesota, the professional soccer teams there, like the Kicks and the Stars and some of the others that were there before Minnesota United. So I thought that was a really cool font. The colors were nice. I like all that shade of navy blue or dark blue with the little tints of that orange. It was nice.
It really is. And it says Loons. If you're not watching on YouTube, go check out if you can find these kits that MLS released. Not every team, but they're the Heritage kits. Really just released them days ago or officially. But wow, some of them. And some of these teams I hate with a passion, right? Some of these teams I just can't stand. But you have to tip your cap to some of these kits that have been released, man. They are the Colorado Rapids. I've always low-key loved I'm talking 1996 first year in MLS old, okay? That's how far I go back with the league. I'm talking some of those early kits and that the kind of the crest the Rapids used to have. It was it wasn't even so much a crest, but rather just a symbol. Sweet mercy. When they bring those back, incredible, beautiful, utterly beautiful. And the Loons, this Loons kit, it literally says Loons on it. Just, gorgeous, no doubt. Well, Mario, we have to turn the page to something that we, it's always great to see it on the schedule, and it's always great when it gets here, but it's always like a little bit of butterflies, a little bit of, oh, man, like no matter what you try to do, because it's a derby week or weekend, as it were. We didn't even have time to give it a whole week, but with the schedule as jammed it is. But it is LAFC, LA Galaxy Saturday at BMO, and we've seen this movie before. Okay, this is how I want to set up this segment for you, and I'll ask you. Galaxy are garbage.
Right.
They're a terrible team. They are dragging down the rest of the league right now. They're awful. They're really just, I mean, this is a defending champ. Just disgraceful, really, the way they're playing. LAFC are flying. We are. I mean, we just outlined it. One loss in the last 13, one loss in MLS since April, and I mean early April. It's been months with just one loss. But we all know that these derbies are ridiculous, and you have to be ready to, you got to be ready to withstand the toughest, best performance that the Galaxy are going to give all season. That's what's coming on Saturday for this match.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking individual performances, not the team even, which will be. I'm talking Gabriel Peck's going to look like stinking Neymar out there, right? Paintsill is going to somehow become Kylian Mbappe for 90-plus minutes. Marco Reus is going to be 22 years old somehow again, and this is just what happens, and you have to withstand that. You got to be ready for that. Like, you're not just getting a good performance from you're going to get the best they have. That's it in a derby, and that's why these games are always insane, including the one which only happened a couple months ago, Mario, that now feels like 5 years ago already, but it was literally just a couple months ago, that 2-2 draw at Dignity Health Sports Park. Take it away. I don't even know what else to say about these games anymore, Mario. I hope that sums it up reasonably.
I'm with you, Dave.
What do you do?
I'm with you. I mean, these games still baffle me. It's crazy how these derbies always turn out. You would think, that LAFC is about to put a whooping on the Galaxy this time around, and all the past matches tell you to throw out, the standings or throw out the run of form. But you know what, Dave? Yeah. This is the Galaxy's MLS Cup. This is their MLS Cup of this year. So, I mean, they have no chance to make it back to the MLS Cup and defend their title. They're trying to at least get a win over LAFC in this match. That could be the highlight of their 2025, So fans lock in, players lock in. It's going to be a fun one as usual. This is one of those games where you can never predict what's about to happen. Just expect the unexpected. But then there's also a side of me that also says, like, I think the LAFC players are tired of hearing this whole notion of throw out the record books, when it comes to the derby match. I think LAFC players are tired of that too. And I am. I'll tell you the truth. I'm sick of hearing that too. I think it's time for LAFC to really show how much better they are than the Galaxy right now, this particular time, and go out there and take it to them, especially at home. We know how difficult it is to come in as an opponent into BMO Stadium and take it to LAFC. LAFC, this is the fortress for LAFC. So handle business at home and really just take those bragging rights, yank it, and do what you got to do against the Galaxy, because now is the time to really take control of this derby rivalry, because they are tied up. It's all even. The record is all even. Yeah. 10 wins apiece, 10 losses apiece, 5 draws. It's even. Now is the time to go ahead and take that rivalry and take it in your hands.
See, I think I really like what you're saying. It is true. I mean, no more of this. So they're, throwaway. I agree. That's a very good point. Like, they're 3-14-6. They are awful. Go tell them how awful they are. Prove it to them again, and just take it to them. You just deserve to win this match at home. Bottom line. Mm-hmm. There's no other result that should be acceptable. And I know the players know that. That's exactly how they feel. Take it to them, Take this game from them early. Just take their will, because this team has folded so many times this season. Like, they deserve to be where they're at. They're awful. I mean, they deserve to be in last West. They deserve to have only 3 wins. They're not good. And, I've said it before, too. If you're a Galaxy fan, in a weird way, now I know, as Mario said, this is their Super Bowl. So, in a weird way, they do want to, obviously, they want to beat LAFC. But they do so well, quote unquote, against LAFC. It's almost insulting to their fans in a way when they're so bad every other week.
Yeah.
But somehow they can pull this out against the Galaxy. Okay, that's great. Or against LAFC, a bigger. But if you're a Galaxy fan, aren't you like, okay, that's awesome. You play well. You get a draw against LAFC when they're so much better than us in the stand. But like, it's almost, where is this all the rest of the time here, fellas? You're terrible every other week, but you're going to come out and perform against LAFC just to kind of remind us something, or it's almost insulting to their fan base in a way that it's like, oh, you can perform well. You just haven't done it for 20 out of the 24 weekends or whatever it's been so far in MLS. But again, that doesn't take, this is all well and good for us to talk about it. It's going to be a tough 90 minutes. You still got to go do it. But I'm with you. I would love to see kind of a classic performance in this one for LAFC. Put the clamps on them defensively. Don't give LA Galaxy anything. And then just we're due for like a 5-0 thrashing of somebody. I mean, anybody, but why not the Galaxy? Yeah, let's do it.
I always say if you're going to win the big matches, you need your star, your big player to make his mark on the match. And I think that's what's going to have to happen in this one too. Denis Bouanga has to come out, keep his hot streak going, right? Because he's scoring a bunch of goals right now. Got to do it against the Galaxy as well. He has in the past. He's scored 8 goals in 8 matches across all competitions against the Galaxy. So got to keep it going, and I expect a big night from Denis, and I also want to see a big night from Marky Delgado. I think he's going to come out really hungry. I think he's going to have that intensity. Of course, he was a part of the Galaxy last year, and then in the match earlier in Carson, if you remember, leading up to that match, he didn't really like the stuff that was going on in social media, like leading up right up to that match on the Galaxy side, right? So I think he's going to come out really hungry. I think he's all in with the black and gold, all in with LAFC. So I think he's going to come out and have a really determined, strong performance for LAFC.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a good one, no doubt about it. You can hear it on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. I'll be with you for the pregame at 7 p.m. Mario, of course, and I will bring it to you. And Mario will have some stuff going on in the pregame, and then the kickoff around 7:40 Pacific time. And hopefully Mario will be talking to a lot of winners in the postgame on the field. Hopefully we'll be celebrating that 5-0 thrashing, and you'll be so busy talking to guys with smiles on their face, no doubt about it. I wanted to ask you, Mario, what's some of the other rivalries, since we're neutral in all the other rivalries, essentially? I mean, maybe not neutral completely, but rivalries that have nothing to do with LAFC. What are some of your other favorites that you love in MLS?
I think the other one, like the main one that I really like to watch, is Portland and Seattle. It's 2 clubs that have always seemed to be contenders in the West, so that always helps to have 2 teams that are playing well, that have winning ways, and it's a derby that goes way back to before MLS, a rivalry that goes back to NASL, even to USL days as well. So both clubs also having tremendous supporters. They travel well to the opponent's side too. So the Timbers Army always travels well to Seattle, and then the Emerald City supporters group, they always travel well to Portland. And then those supporters groups, they don't like each other at all. So you can tell,
No.
And these supporters, they root on their team like as they should. And both clubs always have big players. They always have star players on their team, a lot of talent. So I think that's one of the bitter rivalries and one of the more older rivalries in all of the league.
Yeah, no, I agree. The one I really like, it's very low key, especially lately because they've struggled, is Toronto and Montreal. There's just that just bitterness between them, just cities really, and just so much going on there between the two, and virtually every sport realistically. And so I kind of dig that one. There's even if they're not great, the games are great. Like if the teams are not the best, they'll go out there to bury each other no matter what the records are. So I kind of low key like that. But your choice, I think, is right up there, no doubt. It's in terms of,
I think both of these
right behind
choices,
LAFC, LA Galaxy.
both of these choices have rivalries in other sports too. That's what
Oh,
really makes them really heated
right.
and really good rivalries. It's not just like an MLS, team rivalry. It's like other leagues, other sports as well, which is cool.
Yeah, could not agree more. That's exactly right. We do want to go around MLS a little bit. Craziness on Wednesday night in Major League Soccer. It wasn't just LAFC getting a road win. Holy cow, we always talk about how tough it is to win on the road in MLS, and then there's certain nights of the year where that just gets blown out of the water. And that was Austin beating the Galaxy. Well, that's no great shakes. RSL goes to Portland, get a win. Toronto, across country to the best team record-wise in the West in terms of top of the West. And San Diego gets shut out by Toronto 1-0.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, But that wasn't even the craziest one, okay, in terms of how the game went. That was the craziest result in terms of matchup, I think. Seattle was up 3-0 over Colorado in the second half at home, and they got 1 point in that game.
Nice result for LAFC fans.
Absolutely. But that was the nuttiest, I think, game. And then you go back to the East. Now, it was a little more maybe standard, like home teams for the most part doing decently. But Nashville clubbing Columbus. Cincinnati destroying Inter Miami. Red Bull New York was down to New England. They come back with 5 goals to win. It was just insanity all the way around the league. Honestly, it's why I love MLS. It's part of the draw,
2
Mario.
more goals from Evander, and their big win, 3-0 win over Inter Miami. Cincinnati is for real. Evander is for real. I mean, he's going to snatch that MVP day. Evander is going to run away with that. I mean, we've been talking about it.
Lionel Messi is going to run away with it. I mean, come on.
We've been talking about Evander, since the beginning of the year. So, I mean, if his team gets that supporter shield, it might be Evander. It's going to be a close one.
I'm not saying you're wrong. It should be that way. Yes. But I'm just saying I don't, in the world of reality, unfortunately, I think you're going to be wrong. I think you're right, but you're going to be
hard
wrong.
Not to give it to him. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, but Messi also, Inter Miami has 3 games in hand in the East too, much like, the situation we were in. So it ain't over for Inter Miami coming back either to win that whole thing. So we'll see how that goes. Remember, we got some rumors flying around with the transfer window opening up in about a week. And Inter Miami's always at the height of that. We'll see how that officially plays out. But yeah, the road results. And Mario's right, though. Cincinnati, like Evander is just, I'm so glad they made the rule where essentially players like him didn't have to leave, right? If they were, maybe they wanted more money or a little upset with their club situation. Maybe something wasn't perfect and they wanted a change. But for so long in MLS, literally their whole history, essentially, those players would go. They would be sold out of the league in a transfer, right? Or leaving on a free eventually. Now with the rule change, he goes to Cincinnati. He stays in the league. And that is huge for a player like that to just, I mean, Portland, not giddy about that, but they got money for it, like big cash where they can go spend it on a David DaCosta or whoever. And they don't just lose a guy or not even lose a guy. They were still going to get transfer fee for a guy like Evander, but just the total win-win, for the league itself, Mario. I think it's a great point, though.
Evander gets some looks from the national team, from the Brazilian national team. I mean, getting a little
I've been preaching that for a long time, man. I'm telling you. People don't want to hear it. He would help the Brazilian national team for exactly what they need. Now, he'll never get a chance of that. I hate to say it. It's not going to happen. It should, and it should have a long time ago, frankly. He is exactly what Brazil needs. Not because he's going to carry Brazil. They got great players all over the pitch. He would be a perfect offensive complement to a really, quite frankly, too drab and kind of dire lack of offensive team in a lot of ways. Now, up front, they got weapon after weapon after weapon, but it's to get them the ball. They're very kind of methodical and workmanlike, and then you just hope the guys up front, the 3 up front, are just going to magically do it themselves 1v1 all the time.
He'd be great at the roles that they need. Exactly what they're lacking. He kind of like fits perfectly. So, I mean, how much longer are you going to deny him from getting a look or two?
I know. I've been preaching that for a while. I know people think I'm nuts. And again, look, you never say never. It's not going to happen. And all, it's 99.9% chance he won't. Because who's now, Brazilian manager is Carlo Ancelotti, right? He does not know who Evander is. I can almost bet on that, right? He doesn't even know. He probably doesn't know who FC Cincinnati are, sadly. That's no disrespect to FC Cincinnati, but this is, just, what I'm saying. I mean, if you're a fan of MLS, you know what I mean. And he should be looking at Evander. No doubt about it. He should be having some serious conversations with his staff about this and the federation. Like, Evander belongs in that jersey. He does. He is exactly what they would need to help that team. You're exactly right, Mario. Speaking of Mario, let's go to his choices here for the MLS action this weekend we want to watch, besides, of course, LAFC, and now especially this weekend, if you're not watching LAFC, LA Galaxy, you're missing the best game in MLS, period. It's the best rivalry that the league has ever seen. Who else do you like? What else do you like this weekend, Mario?
I'm going to keep it on the Western Conference Day because it is another big one. It's first place San Diego versus second place Vancouver Whitecaps. San Diego coming off 2 straight home losses. San Diego, I mean, as well as they're playing, 2 straight home losses. A third one could be, okay, we got some issues here at home. So they're playing Vancouver. They're hosting Vancouver, and Vancouver's coming off a 3-0 win at Houston Dynamo. So it's a big bounce back opportunity for San Diego that they need to come back and get a result at home. I mean, it's kind of funny to hear that, but they at least need to get a result because another loss at home could be pretty crucial for San Diego, and Minnesota is right on the heels of both of these teams. So I think both San Diego and Vancouver will be coming out trying to get the full 3 points. So I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining match this weekend.
Yeah, lest you start doubting Vancouver for this little slide here, the last couple of games. Once they get back up to full strength, San Diego and Vancouver, they have the same record in this regard. San Diego's home record is 6-3-3. Vancouver has the same record on the road. They have the same road record as San Diego has at home. That's how good Vancouver has been on the road this season.
That's a lot of wins on the road.
3 losses and 3 draws. Yeah, we know. Yeah. We know that obviously all too well. So that is a massive amount of points. Now, San Diego's been great on the road too, don't get me wrong, but the point is Vancouver has no problem going into San Diego, and they'll be ready to compete, as we've seen out of this team all season long. And that's a great choice. Mine is in the West as well. Sometimes we like to travel to the East, but in this case, I like Seattle, San Jose. And the reason I picked this match is it feels like the Earthquakes are kind of at a crossroads in a way. I think this is a very telling match to go on the road against Seattle, where teams have kind of gotten some points. Okay, not that Seattle's not a good team at home, but you can get a draw there. You can battle with them a little bit. They don't lose a lot there, but you can. And I think San Jose, they're kind of showing maybe that the early part of the season was like, hey, Bruce Arena bump, yes, this, we're brought in all these new players. They're playing great. Now it's the regular season's kind of settling in, and it's the real team starting to show who are you really going to be. And I think for San Jose, it's a little bit of a slide here lately where they're kind of finding their level a bit. And if they really want to challenge or even maybe hold off some teams to get into the playoffs, this would be a big win or a big performance. And I think Seattle, on the other hand, it's a tough team to play, San Jose, because they're going to score. They're going to give you chances. You better take advantage of that. So it's going to be a wild game in all likelihood. Seattle doesn't love that. They would prefer that kind of button-down 1-0 victory if they can help it, and play a little tighter, if you will. They're not a team that likes to go out there and give up a lot of goals or score a ton of, they want to kind of manage games, and San Jose will not let you do that either way. So this one could get nuts, and that's why I like it. And I think it's a good test for both teams.
This is the point of the season where class tells over time, because some teams did get off to hot starts. Some teams, got out to slower starts, but, we always say, class tells over time. And just like LAFC is, playing really well right now, even though they are, a little bit beat up, a little bit, at the depth position, they're kind of like still going through it. But, with Seattle and San Jose, they're getting to that part of the season where it's like, okay, we're starting to see who they really are. And that's where we're at right now in the season, Same with Vancouver. They got off to a really, really hot start. Now we're kind of seeing, going through injuries, and maybe they're tailing off a little bit. And San Diego's been the one that's been kind of like staying steady, just playing well throughout, the season, not really having too many dips, but just staying steady. So it's an interesting time right now in the season for MLS.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love it. This is where you're making moves. This is like, it's time to go. We're going to be a team that's going to be a threat, or you're going to settle in a little bit, maybe fall back to the level you really belong at. And again, there's a lot of teams that are teetering on that. Colorado teetering on that, right? Some decent performances here and there, but now they got LAFC have 4 games in hand on Colorado. They've already played 24 games. So the Rapids only have 30 points left on their schedule. to get.
Yeah.
And they're
There's 10
only,
games left for them.
Yeah, they're only a couple points ahead of RSL for a playoff spot. RSL is currently in the 10th spot in the West. And they have everybody has games in hand, or maybe a game in hand on Colorado right now. They played the most in the Western Conference. So, yeah, this is really crucial time, for a lot of teams, no doubt about it. And again, kudos to them for battling back in Seattle down 3-0 to even get a point. But yeah, they got some work cut out for them. Portland's kind of been a little up and down. LAFC will see them soon. Maybe we're catching them at a nice time. I got no problem with that. So yeah, it's separation time here for the teams who are really going to threaten.
And it's a good time for LAFC with all these home games, and then with the Derby match coming up. And then after that, another home game right before you get into Leagues Cup. And with all the winning that LAFC has been doing, I think it's a really good rhythm, really good position right now for LAFC in the Western Conference standings with games in hand. So
that's couldn't agree more. Yeah, speaking of exciting, LAFC Galaxy Saturday. Again, no bigger game in MLS. This is the rivalry. It is the LA Derby. Airtime for the pregame, 7 p.m. Pacific Saturday. It'll be on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. You can hear my call. Cannot wait to deliver it to you. And again, it's the home match. So if you do have Apple TV around the country or around the world and you watch MLS Season Pass and you can't be at BMO Stadium in LA, you can hear my radio call there by flipping it to the home radio button. Great opportunity, great service, really, that provided there by the MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Mario, always a pleasure, buddy. Time flies when we do this show. Episode 64 in the book. Want to say congratulations to one of our listeners. He won the contest back in episode 50. We had a contest here. We sometimes will give away some stuff. He's got 2 tickets to the Galaxy LAFC game coming up, and they are already in his possession. So congratulations to him for listening to the show back in episode 50. Yeah, and that was a long time ago. We're going to have another contest coming up soon. We're just flying by here on LAFC Plus. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody to listen. If you love MLS, you don't have to love LAFC only. That is the plus. And subscribe, rate, review, follow LAFC on all the social medias. Follow Mario. Where are you at, brother?
At I am Mario Ruiz. At I am Mario Ruiz on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X. Yeah, follow us.
Love it. I'm on X at Talk Soccer or on Instagram at Dave_Denholm, spelled like my name. We really appreciate listening. Mario, take us out of here, brother. Great episode. Always fun to talk to you, man.
Looking forward to seeing everybody at BMO Stadium. It's the battle for LA. It's a battle for bragging rights. Let's do it, LAFC. Let's go. We'll see you at BMO Stadium. That's Dave Denholm. I'm Mario Reese. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.